Wife, 33/F, finally admitted to cheating on me, 36/M. Now what? My wife, 33/F, and I, 36/M, have been married for 8 years with no kids. We dated for 3 years prior to getting married. 6 years ago, I caught her lying about spending time with an ex-boyfriend. At the time, I was temporarily disabled by a severe injury and awaiting my workers' compensation claim to be processed. It eventually was, resulting in surgery, physical therapy, and a cash settlement, but the process took over 2 years to resolve. I was stuck at home, in chronic pain, and doubtless difficult to live with. She had recently reconnected with some old friends, and began hanging out with an ex-boyfriend. I told her point blank that it made me uncomfortable, and she accused me of being jealous and controlling. She began to complain to her friends that I was trying to keep her from spending time with this man, and they became hostile to me. I remained uncomfortable, but I tried to let it go. I began to notice my wife coming home with things that we could not afford, and she always had a ready excuse. Again, I was accused of paranoia, and I let it go. She dared me to go through her phone if I thought she was lying, which I thought would make me as intrusive and controlling as she claimed, so I refused. The warning signs kept coming. One day, she left her phone at home, and remembering how she had asked me to look at it to prove her innocence, I decided I would actually look. It was absolutely full of incriminating text messages. She and the ex-boyfriend were seeing one another daily. He was giving her rides to work in his car while she was telling me she rode the bus. They took a day trip up to the city together. One text from him even said "I love you," although there was no response in kind from her. I packed my things up and got ready to leave. I decided to confront her first, and waited until she came home. She walked in the front door and immediately realized what was up. I explained that I had looked at her phone and found evidence that she had lied to me. She admitted to being emotionally involved but adamantly denied having a storytime relationship with him. I didn't believe her, but I had no proof. We talked for hours, and she convinced me that she was ashamed of her actions and had only looked for attention because I was so miserable all the time due to my injury. I didn't leave. She admitted to being emotionally involved but adamantly denied having a storytime relationship with him. I didn't believe her, but I had no proof. We talked for hours, and she convinced me that she was ashamed of her actions and had only looked for attention because I was so miserable all the time due to my injury. I didn't leave. Over the years since then, we have worked hard to build a life together. With the help of me working full-time, and devoting most of my injury settlement to moving and school expenses, she finished her degree and started a career. It hasn't always been easy, and there have been points where I found it difficult to trust her. On occasion, she has thrown it back at me, demanding to know how long I am going to let one mistake undermine my trust. 2 or 3 times, I asked again if she had truly come clean about her affair, and she vehemently denied having done anything physical. Which brings us to this week. One of her friends who had accused me of paranoia was briefly the subject of discussion, and it led me to think about that time in our lives. Some specific contradictions were bothering me, and doubt was keeping me awake at night. I decided to share my feelings with my wife, if only to explain what was bothering me. This time, as I broke it down and explained what exactly was eating at me, she came clean. She had a storytime affair with the ex-BF. She was unhappy at home and his attention made her feel good. He bought her nice things. She said she had flirted a bit too much with some other people and even pursued them, but never had any other actual affairs. She claimed that all of this ended when she was caught, and that she has not had another affair since then. I wasn't angry. I wasn't surprised. I was just hurt. This was hardly a revelation. I had known even though I hadn't known. It was the reason I asked again every few years. Now I don't know what to do. My wife is the same person she was last week, when I essentially knew she had cheated on me years ago, only now she has come clean. I adore her. I can even see myself putting this behind me and moving on. But I have some major concerns, and they are all potential deal breakers. I know exactly what I would tell a friend if they were in my situation. No matter how much I love this woman, the person I made plans to spend the rest of my life with, my brain tells me to GTFO now. If I stay, I do not know if my trust can ever be rebuilt. She didn't just cheat on me, she didn't just accuse me of paranoia for suspecting the truth, she continued to lie for 6 more years after being caught. She questioned my trust while continuing to lie to me time and time again. We had planned on having children when the time was right, but I do not want to bring a child into this situation right now. Her window of opportunity to have children is limited, and if we spend the next 6 years trying to make our marriage work only to fail, it will be all but too late for her to have another shot at a family with someone else. I would be foolish to take her word that this was the only time. I guess it seems so simple when I lay it out like this. Maybe I am hoping that someone can provide me with pros to staying, because right now all I see is a long list of cons. Maybe I just need a kick in the ass. Now what? Comment 1. Now what? Really? She is a cheater. You put that trash on the curb. Yeah, one of her other men will immediately pick her up, but at least you don't waste another minute on her. Edit, and why the F do you care about her ability to have a family? You were injured and she was out effing another guy. Comment 2. You know what to do, dude. I could see trying to make it work if it had been one indiscretion and dealt with at the time, but this is way past one indiscretion. She didn't just cheat on you, she cheated on you, manipulated you when you were vulnerable, lied to you while accepting massive financial support that she probably knew you would be less willing to give if she'd been truthful. She broke trust with you, and then doubled down on it again and again and again. You think you love her. You do not. You love what you thought and hoped she was, but isn't. What she is a deceitful, manipulative whore who has broken faith with you, lied to you, manipulated you and used you. Please, you don't have to keep letting her do this to you because the truth is she never stopped. Comment 3. I think you're the one being naive in this particular case. Normally I'd suggest couples counseling too, but this is a really egregious transgression. It's not just the cheating, which was worse than just a normal indiscretion. It was a full-blown affair when the op was the most vulnerable he could be. It was a 6-year campaign of lies and manipulation, doubling down again and again and again, trickle-truthing, gaslighting, even going so far as to turn the tables and use the incident against him. This is way past just cheating. Comment 4. People cheat usually because they feel like they need something out of their lives. Not out of spite and not even because they're unhappy. People keep it a secret and often lie about it for fear of the, often irrational, reaction of their partners. If she had felt like she could have asked your permission, she likely would have. If she had felt like she could have discussed it with you after, she likely would have. If you were miserable before this happened, then this is not the source of your misery, it's a symptom of it. Work the problem, or GTFO. If you were happy before this, then talk about it. What was it she felt she needed and why didn't she feel like she could discuss it with you? Think of it like this. If she'd had the desire to go skydiving, she probably could have discussed it with you, even if you were opposed. If it was something she really needed, your opposition may not have been absolute, or a compromise could have been reached. At any rate, you probably wouldn't have immediately assumed that she wanted to get rid of her car so she could skydive into work and skydive the kids to soccer practice. That would be completely irrational. I'm not advocating for open marriages or anything like that, but most people act like infidelity is either some sort of magic bullet or the key to some prison cell they find themselves in. A healthy marriage is not a fragile thing, and cannot be killed by any one chain of events. It requires long methodical neglect. And a dead marriage requires no magic key to exit. Just the will to do so. The way to get past infidelity is to see it like any other injury to your relationship. Contrary to popular belief, monogamy isn't some magic spell that, once broken, can never be conjured again. It's just something people do, and, frankly, most people aren't very good at it. TLDR, she made a mistake because it was something she needed at the time. She lied because you convinced her that the truth would cause the end of the world. She didn't want that. She only came clean now because you, finally, made her feel safe to do so. Comment 5. Hear me out. Don't try to act like you aren't hurt, but don't act on impulse. If I were you, I'd ask for some space and time to think, maybe a few weeks. Think about things, but don't try to pass this as a phase in your relationship. It's very, very serious. Cheating is so serious, so much so that I wouldn't condemn you for dumping her right away, but these things should be dealt with correctly, carefully, with a lot of thought. If not, you will just suffer again and again. Unfortunately, those who do it once, will do it twice and 3 times unless they change drastically, see that the damage they've done. Especially since it was done when you were in your worst condition, when you needed the most help. So think things out, stay alone for a while, because her presence can misguide your judgment. That means no time, no over-intimacy. But for the love of God, make sure things are resolved before bringing a child in this world. But in the end, this is a person you love, and have given 8 years of your life to. This is someone you still adore, and fighting to maintain a family is important. Don't give up too easily. Look, she has to open up with you. Therefore, have a conversation with her, make it clear that if she does not open up, he can never see her the same way, and she needs to be 100% honest if this relationship is to continue. If she does, after that, Take a long time thinking about things, how you see your life. If she doesn't open up with honesty, and you will know when it happens, I am sorry. You can't live in pain, in fear, or bring a kid to this world. Talk to her, very calmly, carefully, that you really like her, but you can't see this working out. In the end, if you stay or leave, you have done the correct decision as long as you have thought things out, very carefully. Today people give up on others very quickly, so try to see if she can be honest to you, and talk, and make the decision. You have to resolve this. It's either honest I forgive you or honest I can't see this working out, after a lot of thought of course. Thanks you for watching. Everyday new movies. See you soon.